Hello again to all mortgage default professionals. I'm Jim O'Rourke. Welcome to This Week in Default Servicing. In our first story this week, the FDIC Chairman proposes broad reforms in default servicing. Could inaction lead to a double dip in the U.S. housing market? Then, will Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac disappear in 5 years? A U.S. Congressman wants it to happen. And finally, will President Obama address foreclosures in his State of the Union speech? All this coming up next on This Week in Default Servicing.
Broadcasting from the Cradle of Liberty, This Week in Default Servicing with Jim O'Rourke starts now.
On Wednesday, in a speech given at a Mortgage Bankers Association summit, FDIC Chairman Sheila Bair outlined a proposal for broad reforms to the mortgage servicing industry. In the proposal, she calls for more modifications and fewer foreclosures. Some key points included in her proposal were a single point of contact with the servicer to assist troubled borrowers throughout the loss mitigation and foreclosure process, a commitment by servicers to provide adequate staffing and training for effective loss mitigation, and simplifying loan modification offers in exchange for waivers of claims. Bair raised a few other points that could cause some concern among servicing executives, investors, and others involved in default servicing. Those points include an independent review of loss mitigation denials, giving borrowers the right to appeal any adverse denial of a loan modification request, requiring banks and other servicers to foreclose in their own names instead of MERS, requiring disclosure of the complete chain of title and note transfer history in the notice of default, and finally, the creation of a foreclosure claims commission funded by servicers to address complaints of homeowners who have wrongly suffered foreclosure through servicer errors. Bair called upon the major servicers, federal agencies, and state attorney generals to work together immediately to provide clarity and fairness to the loss mitigation and foreclosure process. She stated that if we fail to act decisively now to deal with the foreclosure crisis, we risk triggering a double dip in U.S. housing markets that could roll back the progress that has been made to date. A report out of Reuters on Thursday stated that Jeb Hensarling, a key congressman representing Texas's 5th Congressional District, plans to reintroduce legislation that would wind down Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac within 5 years. Hensarling is the 4th highest-ranking House Republican and has been a vocal critic of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. The congressman told reporters on Capitol Hill that he is open to arguments for changing the timetable, though he has not heard anything that would cause him to take a slower approach. He was quoted as saying, "What is absolutely non-negotiable is ensuring that these are no longer government-sponsored enterprises, implicitly or explicitly or in any single way." During the previous congressional term, Representative Hensarling introduced the GSE Bailout Elimination and Taxpayer Protection Act to end the conservatorship of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. Under his proposal, the role that Fannie and Freddie currently fill would be exclusively provided for in the private market. U.S. Senator Jeff Merkley from Oregon called upon President Obama on Thursday to renew his focus on the foreclosure crisis and to spell out his plans in Tuesday's State of the Union address. Merkley sent a 2-page letter to the president stating that addressing the foreclosure crisis is essential to our families and our economy. He was critical of HAMP, the program designed by the White House, pointing out in the letter that the results are falling far short of the goals set and the resources promised. The goal of HAMP was to prevent 3 to 4 million foreclosures, but to date, fewer than 600,000 homeowners have been approved for a permanent loan modification. Merkley argues that the key to restoring vigor to the economy is restoring health to the housing market, and the senator is proposing a 6-point plan to boost the housing market and stem the tide of foreclosures. The 6 points in his plan include assisting families facing foreclosure through a national short refinance program, establishing a third-party review prior to foreclosure and fully enforcing existing law, stopping the dual track that continues foreclosures while loan modifications are evaluated, providing homeowners with a single point of access when they seek a loan modification, implementing the lifeline bankruptcy option, and finally, creating a permanent tax credit for first-time home buyers. Senator Merkley hopes the president will mention these 6 specific steps in his nationally televised speech, but the senator is purportedly prepared to offer legislation to force these actions should the White House fall short of acting unilaterally. Thank you for sharing a part of your day with us. You're welcome to comment on any of this week's news in the comments section below. Also, please share our channel with others you know in the mortgage default industry. Just click the word share and copy the link into an email. Once more, thank you for watching, and we hope you'll join us again next week.